Right now, you already know all the talking points. You've heard the outrage. You've seen the blame game. But this time, we're not running it back. What we're going to do, we're lining everything up side by side so you can see exactly where this flips in real time, y'all.
One thing that I'm disturbed by as we woke up this morning is seeing folks on the internet say that this was a false flag, that we are basically all in cahoots to say that this was staged. And I think as someone who, for all of us who was in the room, who had to jump on the ground, who had to text our family and friends and tell them that we're okay, calling our moms, like so many people in this country have done for decades, to see people say those kinds of things, it is frustrating and it's disturbing. It shows the issues that we have to try and fix in this country. And I think nothing taught us anything better than, the importance of journalists being on the ground, in the room, for moments of historic significance than last night, us all dropping to the ground and literally like 5 seconds later, phones up and around so that the American people get a firsthand account of what's happening in a room where the most powerful people, including the president and vice president of the United States, were at.
I saw something that, the false flag, this was staged, is a big thing in MAGA world. But I'm hearing that on my social media pages from people on the left also thinking that this was staged, that this was a false flag, that this was something being done on purpose. And hearing you speak, Eugene, if it's coming from the right and it's coming from the left, these conspiracy theories, it says to me that there feels to be a lack of trust in this country.
And empathy.
And if people can't see that a room full of journalists have ran out of the room, got in front of cameras, got on their platforms, telling people what happened in the room. If you cannot trust what we are telling you, I don't think that's an issue of journalism. That is an issue of American society. And so if you're watching The Weekend, you've been watching us, you've watched us now for 4 hours, I hope you know that we are telling you, because we were in the room. We were sitting right next to each other. Jackie was right next to me, to my left, and Eugene was to her left. We're telling you that what happened last night was real.
Everyone likes to be an armchair quarterback at the end of the day. Tons of people looking at videos wondering, why was Kash Patel the last person to leave the ballroom? Did Secret Service mess up? Did they forget about him? No. Actually, Ashley was sitting with him. She said his instincts were to stay, to be on the ground, play FBI director.
He was operating bravely in that moment, actually.
And very quickly, there is a connection between conspiracy theorizing and political violence. Statistically significant. Harvard Kennedy School has done a bunch of studies on this, most recently December 2024, after the November 2024 election. Again, it's statistically significant. We've got to nip this in the bud.
The irony, right? They definitely getting a taste of what it's like to be Donald Trump, don't you think? They're definitely feeling the weight of their own usual division tactics. Seriously, man. And then they said, basically, they blamed America for this, and also went on to say MAGA claimed that it's staged. I haven't seen that. So now we're at the stage where they're not even trying to rebuild trust. They're demanding it. That's new. Before it was persuasion. Now it's pressure. If you don't believe us, something's wrong with you. Nah. People aren't confused. They're just consistent. You told them, to question everything when it benefited you. Now they're doing it across the board, and suddenly it's a problem. That's not a society issue. That's not an American issue. That's a control issue. And while they're telling you to fall in line, listen to how the language still hasn't cooled off. This was prior to the White House event.
Let's talk about the White House Correspondents Center. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's why I am not in that room tonight, even though I was invited, because I don't want to sit in a room and pretend it's normal and sip champagne in black tie and ball gowns, pretending that this is normal when it's not. This is not normal Republican versus Democratic politics. the Trump regime is trying to take away press freedom. They are trying to kill the First Amendment. They don't believe in the First Amendment. They don't believe in freedom of the press. Otherwise, they would not be arresting reporters. They would not be searching their homes. They would not be taking their cell phones. They wouldn't be trying to investigate them because they write a story that you don't like about your girlfriend. All of those things. I can't believe the White House Correspondents Association invited them to be in that room. I don't understand it. I don't get it. You have to take a stand. And if you're in that room, you are co-signing this. You are complicit in normalizing something that should not be normal. Something that is really, what they're doing is unconstitutional. So I think it's going to be up to independent journalists to fight the good fight until we get our mainstream corporate journalists back in some way. So support independent journalists. Support the Don Lemon Show on all of our platforms. Go to YouTube, Twitch, Substack, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and support and follow us. And support and follow all the independent journalists who are doing great work. But the people who are sitting in that room, I'm sorry, it's a bad look. The American people don't want it, nor do they need it. You have to stand for something.
This is the part that keeps getting overlooked. The tone never changes. I mean, even before and even after everything that just happened, the language is still dialed all the way up. I'm still saying regime, like what he's saying, destroying rights, complicit. So let me ask you something. If you truly believe something was that dangerous, that extreme, what kind of response would you expect from the people listening to you? Exactly. You can't keep pouring gasoline and then act shocked when something catches fire. It is exactly this mindset that led up to this. Oh, you can't have civil discourse with people that you disagree with. You want to normalize that and tell people to be extreme as opposed to be able to walk in a freaking room and have a conversation. This is your, man, y'all pissing me off. This is your pitch point. Everything on fire, because at this point, it's not even isolated moments anymore. It's a pattern, and of what's being tolerated.
Now, where would a regular, ordinary teacher get an idea to assassinate the president?
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
We're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need it?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Yeah, but those are actors and stuff, right? They're not regular people.
People are saying it's gonna happen this weekend and they're buying champagne or whatever. I want to remind everybody that we need to make sure that they don't bury it. We need to hang it out front of the White House for the birds to pick clean.
The party of love and tolerance. So not only does he want it to happen, he wants the corpse to be on full display so the birds can pick at it.
It's coming. We're all gonna wake up one morning and roll over and grab our phones, and that headline's going to be right there. It's going to happen.
It was a great video where you talked about, someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean.
I will go and take Trump out.
Ever since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I will never be surprised by the disgusting nature of you people.
Obviously, we watched pretty much that exact video, that compilation outside of the guy who was presenting that. However, I think it's very important to continue to show this, because here's what people stop playing along. Not because they're trying to be difficult, but because they've seen too much of this brushed off. We get this violent talk just laughed at, extreme statements excused, clear lines blurred. And every time this happens, the same defense shows up. That's not everyone. Cool. But it keeps showing up on that side. And that's the problem. At some point, ignoring it starts looking like accepting it. And the second somebody says it out loud in a serious setting, I want you to watch how fast it turns into a debate instead of a solution.
The left is not the only people doing this, and the right does just as much online.
You can understand why we're on edge as conservatives, though.
3 times the president, Steve Scalise, Brett Kavanaugh, Charlie Kirk. Heck, there was even a plot against Russ Vought the other day, who's the head of the Office of Management and Budget. I mean, conservatives are, I think, rightfully on edge because this keeps happening over and over and over again, and people keep calling Donald Trump a Nazi, and they keep calling him a fascist, and they keep repeating lies about him that are not true, yet they keep getting repeated regarding Epstein and other things. I'm just telling you, as a conservative who lives in this every day, my friend was murdered last year, my president's had 3 assassination attempts. I have a knot in my stomach about it every day that I wake up.
The left is not the only people doing this, and the right.
This is what it looks like when the conversation hits a wall. One side is pointing at what they see happening. The other side is focused on how it's being said. Don't generalize, basically. Be careful with your words, essentially. Meanwhile, the issue itself just sits there untouched. Because if you never agree on the problem, you never fix anything. Well, you never have to, at least. Everything stays stuck in this loop of deflect, argue, reset. And people watching, they're not missing that. That's why more voices are starting to cut through a little differently.
As we've been saying, the left has a problem with political violence. As we're getting more and more information about the shooter, it's clear that he was radicalized by the left's rhetoric. Here are some of his previous posts on X. Leaving for bluer skies. As soon as I get my data archive, I don't think there's much reason to be on here anymore. The only thing humorous about America not having learned from Germany about what happens when Nazis get elected is that Russia may not have learned from the USSR what happens when it makes agreements with Nazis. In the bottom here, you can see he also predicted that Kamala Harris would win. But again, there goes that word, Nazis. On top of that, his manifesto has been released, and he was talking about taking out high-level officials in this administration. That was his goal. He talked about Trump being a fascist, a pedophile. Who is consistently pushing that rhetoric? The left. And again, both of those things are lies, but they're still pushing that false rhetoric and radicalizing their base. I've been saying this, the left has a problem with political violence that they do not want to confront. In a situation like this, when it's clearly a left, by the way, this guy lived in California, he was a teacher. He's donated to Kamala Harris. He was a liberal. What you're gonna see from a bunch of accounts on the left is they're gonna come out and say, well, the right's still more politically violent. Look at all these studies. And they're gonna try to use studies that count 2 white supremacists fighting each other at a bar as political violence. I'm trying to tell you the right has a problem with political violence. It's the right, guys. It's not the left. When Joe Biden was president, let me know when something like this happened by somebody radicalized by right-wing talking points that was talking about taking out his entire administration. The left has a problem with political violence. And rather than accept that and say that's something we need to work on, what they do is they ignore it and point their finger at Republicans and say, you guys are the ones who are politically violent, even though, we're the ones who are shooting ICE agents, attacking ICE agents, trying to assassinate Trump multiple times, trying to assassinate Supreme Court justices, get into their house, do whatever. It's you guys who are the problem, not us. It's unserious, and it continues to perpetuate a permission structure for violence against conservatives. Also, let's not forget who was just assassinated, Charlie Kirk. Again, that individual was radicalized by left-wing talking points. If you are being a reasonable person, it is very clear currently who has a problem with political violence, and it's not the right. It is the left, but the left will try to gaslight you into believing otherwise. It is absolutely insane. Later on, maybe today or tomorrow, I'm going to go through and get more information and details about the situation, and I'm going to send out an article to my Substack subscribers, informing them on more details about what happened and the shooter's ideology, what he believes, his manifesto, all those things. If you're interested in that, the link to that's in my profile. So just go to my profile, click the link, drop your email in, hit subscribe, and then when I send out this update, you'll get it. That's all I got for now. I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, man, that line right there. They don't want to debate. They want to eliminate. That's not about politics. It's about mindset. That's definitely what it is. Once people stop seeing opponents as people, everything completely changes. The criteria just goes bloop. Debate becomes pointless. Understanding becomes irrelevant. And at that point, it's not about winning the arguments anymore. It's about winning at all costs for these people. That's where things get really dangerous. While all this is happening, people are also catching something else. Could you believe it? The contradictions?
Am I crazy, or does none of this line up anymore? Yeah, well, he's a threat to democracy. Yet he won the election fair and square. Electoral college, popular vote, swing states, everything checked out. We're living under a dictatorship. Well, everybody's still free to protest. I mean, no King's Day, post, mock, say whatever they want. Yeah, but he hates women. Well, he's the one that gave the first ever woman the chief of staff title in U.S. history and keeps promoting women in real positions of power. And he hates immigrants. But he's married to one, and his vice president married to one too. Well, free Palestine. Well, now that it's actually happening, they're waving the American flag. I mean, the same flag they used to call right-wing extremism. Yeah, he's going to start World War III. And yet 10 months in, he's the only one that's kept us out of new wars. And he's about to end too. Well, I care about free speech. But they cheered when Charlie Kirk got shouted down and canceled just for showing up to talk. I mean, the same crowd screaming fascism were the ones doing the silencing. Let's be honest. Every accusation they throw at him ends up being a confession. So maybe he isn't the threat. They just can't stand that he's proving them wrong.
This is why the message isn't landing the way that it used to. It's not just disagreement, it's inconsistency. One standard today, a completely different one tomorrow. And people are paying attention now in a way that they weren't before. You can't keep switching lanes, man, and expect everyone to just continue to follow along so blindly. At some point, people stop reacting and start stepping back. And when they step back, they start connecting things on their own, which is exactly what I want you to do here. Also, and then you get moments like this that hit completely different.
I have a critical message for President Donald Trump. Don't you dare scroll. I need someone to get this to the president immediately. Are you listening? President Trump, this message is for you. There are many people praying for you. There are those who are questioning your leadership, criticizing you publicly, even speaking curses against you in their heart. There are a remnant of us who are keeping you in prayer, praying that you would be strengthened to fulfill the oath of your office, praying that God would give you unusual wisdom to carry out your assignment, praying that God would guide your decisions as you lead this great nation, praying that you would be sensitive to the leading and guiding of the Holy Spirit, praying divine protection over you and your family, praying that you would fulfill the purpose for which you were appointed as President of the United States of America. May God continue to bless you and keep you in Jesus' name.
Amen. No outrage. No
I have a critical message.
No accusations. No escalations. Just calm. And that contrast right there, man, that's louder than everything else. Because while the Democrats keep raising the volume, the other side doesn't have to. And I'm sure people will notice that. More than anything that gets said on the panel or posted in the headline. At some point, it's not about convincing people anymore. That phase is over. People have already seen enough to form their own conclusions. Now it's something deeper. Consistency. Because when everything is consistently shifting, narratives, standards, reactions, people stop trusting the message. Not because they're biased, but because they've watched it change way too many times. And that's what you're seeing right now. What you're seeing is what happens when the audience stops playing along. They're not reacting the way that they used to. They're not accepting things at face value anymore. They're watching, they're, comparing, they're remembering. And when that happens, you don't control the conversation anymore, man. You're just a part of it. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write same energy. Yeah, that way I know you made it to the end of this video. And it's not even for the algorithm. I appreciate you guys. You've been enjoying how I've been covering this. And I want to tell y'all I'm extremely grateful for y'all support and everything that we do here. And I would love to get out more content. I haven't been able to ramp it up as much as I would like, but we definitely going to try to switch some things up and make some lifestyle changes to get more news out to you guys more efficiently. Other than that, you guys be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.